Oh, hold up.
Oh.
Okay, well, whatever. It's going sideways.
We are
live.
Welcome to episode 4 of Soul Sexy.
Soul sexy.
We are so glad to have you guys here, the Soul Fam, and we're excited for our guest today.
Yes,
She
super
is
excited.
amazing. We're about to dive into tuning into our higher self. She's an incredible spiritual teacher. She's international. She helps with leaders and influencers to really align with their purpose and vision. So, without further ado, I would love to introduce Vanessa Pentinelli.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. This
Yeah.
is so awesome. I totally did not intentionally want to match with this, but I do. Hi, everybody.
It's perfect. It's
That's
perfect.
how we roll.
Yeah.
So funny, actually.
And first of all, I want to apologize to our viewers on my Facebook Live because it is sideways and that is the only way that my Droid phone will work. I can already see the comments coming through saying, hey, your phone's sideways. I know this. It's intentional. I'm trying to get everyone in. So
I love
just
technology.
turn the phone. Otherwise, you guys can watch the version that'll be played back later on Soul Sexy and our website, which is soulsexypodcast.com.
Check it out.
Hey. Yes. Anyway, sorry. I just had to say that.
Do all the intros. Let's get it all out there.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
I feel like this is just perfect divine timing to have you here talking about
Yes.
this for so many
So happy to
reasons.
have you.
Thank you, guys.
But I mean, we just had, our another eclipse that just happened. We've had so many planets in retrograde, which I think 4 of them are out of. I don't know if you're into astrology.
Yes,
but,
I follow.
they're coming out of this weekend. So it's been really, really heavy time these past few months, these past 2 months especially. And everything is supposed to shift and change as of Monday. Unless we're in our mindset where it's changing now.
Shift happens.
So yeah, shift it just happens.
Shift happens.
Shift happens.
That's a t-shirt
Trust me.
I'm gonna make, I swear.
You should, because I
Yeah.
should wear it, and I would wear it today because shift is happening now today with me. I am on one today. I will tell you that. So this is all divine timing. So thank you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Whatever you're bringing is perfect. So, and I hear you. It's about time for some shifts to happen, planetary-wise, energy-wise. I feel like you're not alone. I feel like this has
We
been...
got your back.
Yeah, it's
Hi.
really been an
Thanks.
intense
Yes.
year
Yeah.
and intense past few months. And collectively, almost every person I've spoken with resonates. And it's happening in all kinds of different areas of their lives and and it's just it's getting to the core of who we are,
Yeah.
right? Which
Right.
is fucking great. Oh, I don't know if I can swear.
You can swear
Yes.
all you want. We're
Okay,
totally
cool.
fine with
We
it.
never fucking cuss on this show.
Never
Just
fucking
for the
cuss.
record.
I might need and I've actually talked about, I think I need a jar for all my fuckings and shits that I come out of my mouth.
You
because
have a fortune.
I would have a fortune. This is true. Like, I cuss like a sailor. It is so bad. I blame it on the East Coast Italian. Like,
East
I
Coast.
mean, hey!
Even
And
a
the
penny.
shit flies
Even
out
one
of my
penny
mouth.
every time she
and-
cusses. You
Yeah,
have a fortune, buddy.
I can't help it. It's
Yeah.
just who I am, and I'm owning who I am. The shit
Yeah.
flies out.
Yeah.
I'm great around kids, though. Trust me, I'm okay. I will not cuss around your kids. I am tame. I really think about it. It's something I think about constantly in my head. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, not shit. I said.
I said funk yes.
Yes, totally. That's what I said.
Funk
Yes.
yes.
It's cute.
Yeah, there's a many slip-ups that you turn into
yeah.
different words. So,
Good
but
stuff.
anyway, it's all about being real and being who you are and feeling into that and just sitting into that. And yeah, okay, so someone, and I feel like, and you know this, like I've talked about this before, where I feel like being who I am sometimes can be, and I'm a lot, but I feel like because when I go on my tangents of shit fucks tangents or whatever energy I'm like very, it can be masculine in a sense, or it comes out to very like just bleh. And it's really trying to like hone that in and tap into that balance. And I feel right now for everyone in their life, it's a balance in your life, it's a balance of who you are, it's a balance with other people. And I feel like this whole year, at least for me, and some of my friends that I've spoken with, it's like a balance of everything in your life. I don't know about you guys.
Yep.
I agree. I call this like the year of fulfillment, because when you are truly fulfilled, there is more of that. At least this is my opinion, and somebody else can say it's not true or disagree, whatever. I believe that that's what we're really, really looking for in our lives. When we talk about having more money, or we talk about being, in personal development, or having a fit body, like what we're really looking for is not that external experience or gratification. We're looking for that deep, like, felt sense of relaxation and peace and just connection to the things that we're doing and the results that we're experiencing in our lives. And I feel when we talk about balance, because a lot of people say there's no such thing as balance, and I actually kind of think that that's bullshit. Why is there no? I think that that's just a belief. Why can't we experience greater balance?
Those are the people that are way out of balance.
I agree. Like, I got to work really hard.
I don't believe in that. No wonder it doesn't happen for you.
Totally. I
You gotta believe it to see it.
I just kind of want to cheers.
Yeah, totally. It's so true, and it's calling it like it is. I think, right? Because this year, my entire world has actually flipped from what I'm used to doing. So I've been, somebody who's been a high performer. I've written about this. People who've been following me for a long time know I'm pretty open about letting go of the perfectionism and the high performer, because that's led me to burnout.
Yes.
And it's led me to just being like, I'm feeling like I'm in service all the time, but not in service fully to myself. Even with my spiritual practices and my self-care, we're talking like a whole other level that, my higher self has put me into alignment with this year, which is what I've actually been really wanting all those years when I was hustling, when I was in this performer type of role, right? Feeling fulfilled. I want to be able to experience joy and happiness and radiant health and success, but not at the expense of my whole being, like my joy, right? I'm over that. So everything this year for me has been intense because it's really dissolving the programming to the core of my being that has held that kind of stuff in place. And you can take out high performer, hustle, hard worker, whatever it might be, perfectionist, and you can insert your own beliefs in that. Because what we're really after right now is getting to the core of who we are and being in the essence of who we are, and living from that place. And that, to me, is what it really means to live in your highest self, to be in alignment with that. Because
I agree.
We're not here just to be in service. We're not here just to do all this shit and then find happiness when we're retired.
Right.
No, we're here to embody and be able to experience that consistently throughout our lives. And I think that's why it's so intense, is because so many of these deep-rooted patterns are coming up for question.
Even challenging you. Do you want this anymore? Do you need this anymore in your life?
Yeah.
And it's like when we do realize that we are being challenged with that and to live in our truth, like for me, I'm seeing it right now and today, as I expressed beforehand, which is why shift is happening. It's like the more we work on it, the more focus, and the more it's like, oh, the universe, oh, you want to work on that? Oh, we're going to bring you this. Oh, we're going to smack you with this, this, and this all at the same time to see how you take it and just see how you're really working those boundaries. For me, it's boundaries or whatever else it is that, we're working on. So absolutely.
And the universe only gives you what you can handle. That means, so take it as a compliment. If you're getting throwing a lot of curveballs
right
and
now.
You're like, dang, you think really highly of me.
Clearly. I think I was strong. I was She-Ra in a past life because I am like battling like, hey, what is happening here? That is what's happening in my life right now. I'm just like, and it's interesting because it's like, and I've been silent on social media for those that normally follow me. I post a lot regularly, and I love it. I love getting the feedback from everyone because I feel like when I'm posting something, I'm feeling into the collective of what's happening.
Exactly.
And then people like respond, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. I'm not the only one going through it. Awesome. But I've been silent about 2 weeks now, which is very unlike me, and I apologize.
Don't apologize, though. You're actually being in service to them.
I feel like it's time that I just need to just kind of remain silent and figure out what is going on in my life to balance myself, because even though we are teachers and we love to help others, we're also going through the same things.
Oh my God, totally.
Yeah, and I'm on the other end where I've been realizing where I've been playing small. And all of a sudden it's like I've been getting like gut issues and all this stuff coming up, and it's like, okay, I've tried everything. Now I'm like, what's really here? I could tune in and I'm like, wow, I'm not fully digesting my experiences. I'm not finishing off the hero's journey, right? Which is the last part is sharing. So I have all these epic experiences, all these amazing ways of helping, healing, and serving, and yet I haven't shared all this knowledge and all of these experiences yet. So it's like getting stuck in the digestive track in the hero's journey, like the very end is sharing all that.
Yes.
So that's why I'm here, and I love this. I love you guys.
It's
and
great,
it's all part of the journey.
Yes.
It is.
It's an important part, those realizations. So everything's coming to surface, like so that we can see it.
Yeah.
So it's all the crap that we're asking for. Well, I want to be here. Cool. Still got to deal with this.
Yeah, right. I mean, we
This
always
is gonna
think
come
it's,
up, yeah.
oh, I'm gonna get here. I'm these are my prayers. I want them answered. Well, your prayers are answered in a variety of different ways,
Yeah.
right? Your
Oh,
intentions come through rarely how you think that they're gonna
Right.
happen or unfold. It's gonna come up in the way that it's of highest service to you. And if you can relinquish control and judgment around a lot of those experiences, then you can move through them in a way that is a lot more graceful and easeful.
Yeah.
Right? And it's great that you have the awareness to recognize where you are, because for everybody it's going to be different. For me, it has been pulling back and being less out of that grind and the hustle and pushing things and getting it out there, and this is how it's going to happen, and this is how I'm going to make the most amount of impact. The most amount of impact I'm going to make is by actually really serving myself right now. And I've taken a lot more time off of social media. I just post every day.
Yep.
Loved it. I felt inclined to do that. And then over the last several months, I've been a lot quieter, where there'll be weeks where I don't really post anything or have much to say. And, for me, it's like I only want to add or contribute now when it feels 100% aligned to my entire being, not because of an algorithm, not because I need to stay relevant or I need to share everything because all the other teachers or coaches or healers or people, influencers are doing that. It's like I am invested in being true to myself, and I think that that's the greatest service we can give to people in the world.
Gotta be a funk yes.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do this so that I'm included.
Funk yes. And that's what's interesting, is that when you really take a look at, if you get good at tuning into your intuition, there's a million opportunities that show up. And those ones that are kind of like, kind of cool, maybe that's a no.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm doing that for this person or the other thing, or those hiccups, that's not a funk yes. And the more you get good at the art of saying no, then the more you open doors to funk yes opportunities.
Yeah.
And then it feels so good. Your intuition is like, that's it. Funk yes, here we go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put on your seatbelts.
I had a teacher who told me with intuition, this is like years ago, when something feels yummy, that's the opportunity to jump in, dive in, say yes, go for it. When something feels yucky, that's your no.
Yeah.
But how many
Feel it in
times
your
do
body.
we say yes sometimes to the yuck, right?
Exactly.
We do, yep. And it's then why do we do it? And it's looking at why we do that, and has that been a pattern? And so it's like, how can you change that for the future too? And and it's also like feeling in your body. Like if you have something that you're trying to figure out, and like, do you feel it in your gut? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it somewhere in your body? Because if you do, the answer is probably a no. Then don't do it. It's not meant for you. It's meant for you to say no to and learn from. It's okay to say no from doing that.
And it's easy to get confused with fear and ego, though, because fear can be this feeling in your gut of like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to like be seen in that way, or I don't want to. Whereas the little voice of your intuition and your soul is like, we're ready for expansion. Let's do this,
Right.
And then fear can be the one
Fear
that's giving
can
you
be
these
that.
like, that doesn't feel good. I'm gonna just stay where it's safe. So it's interesting deciphering between the two voices
And
or
I agree
intuitive
with
hits.
I agree with that. And that being said, too, I want to kind of talk about more, let everyone know more about you, your background,
Sure.
You know, what books you've written and retreats. You do all kinds of
The
things.
books are coming.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said you did. Sorry.
It's in the process.
Okay, got it. But I would love to hear
But I
more.
love that. That's a great foreshadowing.
They're already
Books.
out.
Already
They're
done.
already
Well,
done.
they're already done in the
It's
ether.
already
On this
Yeah.
timeline,
This is the first key to manifestation.
Yes, well, it is.
It's already done.
You're picking up on
Hey.
something. Maybe I'm not
You just need to
hearing.
take this timeline and put it here,
That's
and then you're
awesome.
good.
So good.
But yeah, and tell us about you for those
Yeah.
out there that don't know who you are,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you do, what you know.
Right. So I am a spiritual teacher. I've worked with people all over the world for the past 10 years. I'm also a speaker and I'm a trance channeler. So that's always, I save the best one for last. Because a lot of people are like, what the hell is that?
So intriguing. Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting. So all my work, since I was a kid, I have been very metaphysically inclined. I've loved and always been drawn to New Age teachings and spirituality and extraterrestrial life forms and ancient Egypt. So I had this kind of interest and desire in this work since I was a kid, and I had a really strong intuitive connection and spiritual connection, and I started hearing a voice which to me at the time sounded like the voice of God instructing me to do certain things in my life. And so 14 was the first time I really heard it, and it instructed me to go into the entertainment industry, to be a pop singer and an actor and a model. And the whole idea behind that was that I knew I was here for a purpose. And I was here, on a strategic mission. Like even as a kid, I knew I'm here to help. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to assist the planet in some way, even while feeling like I didn't belong here.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of, my entire life, of feeling like I'm not from here. This doesn't feel like home. It's challenging living here, but I've worked with that. I've been able to work with that because it also has tapped me into my mission and my real purpose. And so when I went into that industry, the idea behind it was people are so into these, popular, famous people, pop culture, all of that, that I'll have a voice. And my voice will be able to help a lot of people get involved in projects. I'll be in LA by the time I'm 24. This is just my mind just went on this, just this journey of what could be possible. But it ended up being the catalyst, I would say, for my awakening. It ended up being the catalyst for me really getting clear around what spirituality meant for me, because I actually turned atheist for a time. I didn't believe in anything. And I started to get into personal development work, energy work, yoga, meditation, all that. And it was during those years that the longer I was, in the industry while doing this work and getting really reconnected to purpose, I saw that it was misaligned for me. And then I got, into this work that I've been doing, which is really, it feels like, yes, 10 years professionally I've been doing that and it's been a business. But it feels like it's a lifelong part. It's like it's all one piece of a big puzzle, you know? So I work with people one-to-one, so I have a lot of private work that I've been doing, and then I work with groups. I do live events, I do live channeling events, I speak about leadership and soul-aligned success, which is the name of my business. And now, in the last year and a half, I've been doing trance channeling work. So I've always been a channel. So to kind of explain what channeling is, because people may not have an understanding, I'll do my best to explain this in a way that's really clear and accessible for people. So conscious channeling, you can almost describe it as being in like a flow state or like an alpha state, where you're just so fully present, you're tapping in to something in the individual or yourself. It could be their higher self, it could be an angel, it could be a deceased loved one, but there's nothing happening in a conscious channeled state. I don't look different, I don't sound different. It's me fully here, but I'm tuning into something. So I've had all four of my clairs activated: my claircognizance, my clairsentience, clairaudience, and clairvoyance. And having these channels open for me has given me greater access to working with archangels and guardian angels and other people's higher selves, ascended masters, etc. So I've been doing that work for a long time in preparation for the trance channeling, which got blasted open very unexpectedly.
About how long ago?
So I was at a mastermind retreat in Mount Shasta in November of 2016.
Good old Chester.
I know.
It brings it out.
It does. And I started to get activated there. So the coach that I was working with, shout out to Amateo.
Love Mateo.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah.
He started to share his trance channeling. And of course, I chose him as my business coach at the time, right? Because he had the medicine to really activate these parts within me. And when I heard his story for the first time and he channeled, all kinds of sensations started to happen in my whole body that it was unexplicable. It was just so strange and so out of the ordinary. And then I started to hear a new set of voices coming in. I know this will totally sound crazy for people.
No.
Any therapist watching who are not into voices in
Bring
your
it
head,
on.
you must be nuts.
Yeah.
No, I'm
No,
with you.
all kidding aside, these new sets of guides started to come in and say, well, we've been here your whole life. We're there, but you're afraid of us. And so there's a great fear that we have around extraterrestrial life forms and connecting with them because our planet has created so much fear around it. And, people who've been abducted have also had some pretty terrifying and horrific traumatic experiences in their recounts of what has happened to them. So, talking about extraterrestrials and trance channeling is something that's very on the fringe still, and very strange for a lot of people. But when it started to happen for me, they showed me how strategic and precise they could be. So after that retreat, I wasn't trance channeling yet, but I came home and downloaded a 1-year business plan right down to the numbers, how many people need, at 9:30 at night, they put me to my whiteboard. Here's all this information. And when I looked at it from my logical, rational mind, I was like, wow, this is incredible. This makes a lot of sense. So it was them showing me, hey, we're not just airy-fairy. We're not just about being out there. We're about really helping you. And here's what we can do. Here's how we can help. So fast forward to March of last year, and I was at Access Granted, which was a workshop series that Amateo was putting on, and I was a part of it. And Kat Bird, another amazing dear friend and shaman and channel, was doing an evening experience where she was helping us to open our channels. And all I heard going into that experience was, this is going to be an interesting night. And a big night. No, this is going to be a big night for you. And I said, what do you mean a big night? What does that mean? Silence. And I went through the experience, and literally, there's the Palladians at the door.
Literally, we have that. We have the
Perfect
dog
timing.
snoring.
Yeah.
So sorry.
This is the sound effects on the set.
Yes,
Dog
yes.
snoring.
That would be Amazon.
Oh, okay,
Special
yeah.
delivery.
Amazing.
Yeah. We
But-
brought codes.
I
Yes,
know,
that's
that's
what
right.
I'm saying. Literally, what you're saying is you're delivering this. It's it's symbolistic.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Symbolistic,
Symbolic.
whatever.
Symbolism.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, so, well, there they go.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
We're gonna have to ignore that. So basically, long story short, my channel opened that night, and that's when I actually experienced something that was unlike any experience I've ever had. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of really far out, crazy, cool, interesting, fascinating experiences. My entire life with, extraterrestrial / spiritual type experiences, but nothing prepared me for this.
Yeah.
And, literally it was like my personality, Vanessa, went to the back, and this being dropped in actually from Sirius and came through and started to do a healing on the group, on the third eye chakra and the heart chakra. And the frequency was so intense, it actually felt like I was being lifted off the ground, like I was levitating, because the frequency was so high and it was unlike anything my body could process. So after that happened, I actually came down to the floor in that experience and was so humiliated and embarrassed, even though I was with a group of like-minded people who were into all of this. I was ready to, it felt like
It's new to you. It was
totally,
a new
it was
experience.
a new experience, and I was embarrassed because there was it didn't happen for everyone in the group.
I remember those times.
Yeah,
So I get it.
and
I get
it took me back to the time I'd come out and was doing readings and intuitive work, very early on in my career, and I felt like I wanted to hide in the spiritual closet again and be like, oh my God, what happened? That must have looked crazy, sounded unbelievably weird. I don't want to be seen right now. I want to go into hiding. And literally after that experience, my life was never the same. I mean, everything kind of went chaotic in a sense, destabilized. My body started to go through immense shifts. You know, some people be like, well, why would you even put yourself through it? It's like, I don't want to say I didn't have a choice, because I really did choose, and I was in agreement to become an ambassador on this work, to be able to bring this work through to help people in a more specific, precise, impeccable way with this guidance, with these messages that come through. And I knew that it was just another, you know, added thing to my toolkit to be able to support people, you know, in a bigger way.
Right.
Because, you know, it's time that we start to make contact. We start to remove the stigma and the fear around this, that they're all out to hurt us, that it's bullshit, that there's not no such thing as life on the other planets. Like, come on, guys. Seriously? Like, this is 2018. This is not 1901, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we have to start opening up to experiencing something different, and knowing that if it's coming through benevolently and lovingly, it can really be of support. So, you know, I was running programs and I was doing retreats and all that, and things just, it got to the point where I was feeling like a part of my business at that time was coming to an end. And, you know, when I stepped away of the iteration of it last June and really said, you know, full-bodied, yes, let's do this, I'm surrendered. Whatever you want me to do in this work, I'll be your vehicle. As long as I get choice in this, I get to still be relevant in the work. You know, because if I choose to not trans-channel you because I don't want to anymore, or you decide that this is not part of my path, that at least there's still Vanessa here, that I'm not just Vanessa the channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's an individual who has lots of experience and lots of knowledge and gifts and things to share with the world in my own unique way, and this is just another part of it.
That's a great boundary to have.
Yeah, I've had boundaries with them. You know, I've been really diligent, and that's the thing. Like, it's forced me to get into such precise alignment with myself and the path of where I am now, sitting where I am today. I mean, I've been put through the ringer, just, you know, to be
To get to where you're at.
Yeah.
totally. My limits have been pushed, but it's all been in service to me. They forced me to get more impeccable with my health and my well-being and my body to hold these frequencies. You know, I'm looking at core wounds, and I've done a lot of work on myself, I'm sure, like you guys have. And then there's still these things that are coming out that I'll see, and I'm like, wow, like, that is not me. That's an identity. You know, I've done a lot of identity shifting this year. And, you know, and my thing is I just want to be a conduit, a really clear conduit and channel of love, so that this work can help people. And that's all I'm doing it for. If it doesn't help people, I won't do it. But if it's going to really help people, which it has, I've seen the unbelievable transformation and just what happens to people when they receive the channelings. It's really mind-blowing. So in the trance state, coming back to that, it's like a trance medium state where my eyes are closed, basically kind of looks like this. My voice changes slightly, and, you know, my Palladian guides, which are these 3 guides that I work with, come through, and there's usually a transmission, so it's a conversation at first. They're funny, they're playful, they're very sassy, they're very fun to be around, and very loving. They're 5th to 7th dimensional beings who are here to, basically they say that they're from the future and they're here in the past in this timeline, helping us to evolve, because eventually human beings will be at that consciousness level that what they're experiencing now. And they're here to really just open our hearts, to open our minds, to raise our consciousness, our vibration, and to help us, not in terms of like getting out of the body and being blasted out, but getting into the body, getting into this experience and really living it from a fulfilling place. And they call the higher self the magnificent self. They want us to be living from our magnificent selves, and, you know, really helping us to work through the things that we rub up against that are limiting us from experiencing the magnificent self. And I will tell you, like, even for myself, going through this experience and channeling, I get the healings and you know, the transmissions just as much as the clients or the audience does. For the first time in my life, and this is like a vulnerable thing to share, I've had a really hard time in this lifetime experiencing peak states of joy, like consistent periods of joy. And I carried a lot of sadness, like my entire life. I don't know what, like almost felt like a melancholy.
I
Like
can relate to this.
just really
Got
sad.
that in
Like I would feel I could cry. Like I have no problems with crying and feeling those things. But then it got to the point where I'm like, I'm really good at, you know, being in this emotional state, this frequency, and then I can get to neutral and kind of just coast there. Then the joy and the happiness for long periods of time are kind of non-existent. Like maybe it'll be for a couple weeks, and then it's like 3 months I'm kind of like in neutral. And so with all the work and modalities that I've, you know, dabbled in, I was kind of like, what the hell? Like, why can't I experience joy for longer periods of time? Like, I know we're in a polarity. I know we're going to have contrasting experience. I'm not saying that I need to be positive or happy all the time. I don't believe in that anyways. But what I was really searching for was joy is happening out here to cause joy in here. So if something's going right or areas of my life are going really well, then I've got
Then you felt
then
the
I
joy.
felt the joy. And, you know, really not in the greatest shape. It's now getting to an optimal level again. You know, this year I had to take off a lot of time for my business. So, you know, of course things get affected by that. If I'm not in the business, if I'm not supporting people, then things get affected. You know, I wasn't feeling inclined to produce and create. And yet, finally, after going through a lot of intense stuff this year, over the last couple months, I've been finally tapping into that place of joy. And the joy has not been caused by things outside of me. It's like if it was Vanessa a year or 2, 3 years ago with the things that have kind of been happening, she would have been fucking freaking out and having a meltdown at things. And instead, I've been feeling the joy of just being present. And this is the Pleiadian work. It changes who you are on a cellular and DNA level. Like, it's changing me into who I'm really here to be, not into some other version or alien or something, but like who I'm really actually meant to be in this lifetime, and being a beacon of joy, being that lighthouse, being in my essence. I mean, that is really what we're here for. And we've been taught that money and fame and success and influence and all these things are going to bring that, and it's a fucking illusion. It's not. It's tapping into the love that we are. It's knowing who we are. It's, you know, being in full acknowledgement and just awe of what makes us who we are as individuals. And
So, Vanessa, how would you, for people that are trying to figure out how to find that joy in their life, what tools could you offer them and help them to find out where that is?
I think it's going to be different for everybody because everybody's path is unique. You know, it's so for one tool, I can give you tools, but that tool may not be in resonance for somebody. So one of the things that I always say is, you know, you've got to get willing to know who you are. Like, I think that sitting in silence, I think that being in meditation, I think that having time alone, I mean, those were some of the most, and still are, some of the most important periods of my life, cycles that really got me to be okay in being uncomfortable with myself. Because the more that we're avoiding feeling, the more that we're avoiding looking at certain aspects and parts of our lives and ourselves, and we're distracting, because now we're being trained to be distracted. Because when we're trained to be distracted, then we can't access the magnificent self, right? We're more inclined to be out here, out of body, than in the body. So I think that, you know, if you're new to this path, especially, I really, really recommend having time to yourself. Carve that out in your schedule. And I know that there's people who are going to say, but I've got 4 kids and I've got no help and I don't have a lot of support and I don't have a lot of time and I'm an executive and I'm all this. Well, those are all bullshit excuses because we place value on the things that we value the most. So if we value time to ourselves and we can see the value in that, then you're going to find, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 5 hours, a full day, to give yourself that. Because the more that you're able to be with yourself, at first, that's one of the most helpful things. And I mean, for me, it's been invaluable, but you need to have a guide. I mean, there are a lot of people who will say, well, all the answers are within. And I get that. We have our own strong guidance system, but we are not meant to be on our own. It's the same thing as, well, I'm meant to figure it out on my own. Well, you're essentially saying that I can live on my own and I don't need any help and I don't need any support and I don't need to have this person or that person. We as light leaders, is what the Pleiadian guides and I, you know, call it, we're here to collaborate and support each other. So whether you're in the role of, I always look at it as a client and me are collaborating. We're on the team. It's not that I'm teacher and you're student. It has nothing to do. I'm student and teacher always. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're collaborating. You're supporting my mission when I'm doing this work just as much as I'm supporting you and yours. So we're here to help each other. So I think like the second thing is get the right support. Have a success team that can help you really reach your, not just your goals, but really knowing yourself. Because when you're accessing your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, your energy, that's where the shifts start to happen, you know? And I mean, and everyone's in a different rate and acceleration in their path. So I find those two things, I know it's not rocket science what I'm saying. I'm sure a lot of people already maybe even know this.
No, but I feel like they need to hear it.
Yeah, people need to hear it, and it's going to speak to a level of their consciousness that may be in resistance to this. Because I meet a lot of people, especially people like ourselves, who are so focused on the outward success, and they'll invest tens of thousands of dollars in business coaching, consulting. And I'm not poo-pooing any of my friends who are business coaches. We need you. But
no
they
poo-poo.
don't. No poo-poo. But we need to value our growth and spirituality, right? And consciousness and energy and having that. So, you know, it's actually more vital to do that because a lot more of the other stuff starts to flow, starts to come in alignment when we are aligned within ourselves and with our divine plan, our divine self.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when's the book coming out?
I know. Soon. As soon as I get the guidance for it. Yes.
So you do teach retreats. I want to quickly share with everyone out there too that she does retreats.
Yeah.
And how can people find you as well?
Yeah. So you guys can head on over. I finally have a new website.
Yay.
It's been 3 years. I had only organic way of getting clients through social media and referrals, but I finally have a new beautiful site.
It's awesome.
Thank you. I'm really proud. It took 8 months to work through, if not longer, with all of it. It's VanessaPetronelli.com, my full name and last name.com.
We'll post it too on, it'll be on SoulSexyPodcast.com, and it'll also be on the Facebook page.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of live events and retreats, things like that. I'm working on a couple of really cool projects right now, and looking to also support people in group stuff online again in a different way than I've been doing. But if you head on over to my website or on social media, you can find me there. And, you know, if there's something that stands out or pops out for you want to talk about working together or any events or something I have coming up, retreats, and, you know, just let me know and I can inform you on that. So
I love that. And then, so I have a question about ETs and stuff as well.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are on Ancient Aliens, and I've had them in previous shows on before. We'll probably have them on again soon. And I love hearing the different sides of, you know, they'll go on and on about, you know, alien and ET stuff that they've seen and heard. And I'm just curious, from you, and yes, we can hear these crazy things of people being abducted, and then we also have the positive side of the Pleiadians, and I've seen them, and they're beautiful, and so how do you feel about these abductions and whatnot? Do you get any messages from that? Tell people it's okay, or no, but I'm just curious, is that really there? Or is it, is it someone's inner darkness demons that are just coming up and it's not really there? What do you feel?
I think there's a yes and in that. I think that there's probably people who have, maybe made shit up, just I'm sure there's channels and people who claim they're psychic and all that are frauds or imposters or have had their own psychosis or dark stuff come out. And I actually really do believe that there have been people who have been harvested on some level on other planets and have been abducted and have had these real stories. And I've read a lot of these accounts over the years in various books and have followed a lot of this stuff. We get into what we might call conspiracy theories, which seem to be...
They're so fun.
They're so fun.
They're so fun.
And more of it's kind of revealed.
Something to talk about.
The best thing I heard the other day, my husband sent me a clip of a CNN, on CNN, of these two anchors talking about a Republican candidate in, I believe it was Miami or Florida, who claimed that she has been connecting with aliens, that she was abducted and talking to them telepathically since she was a little girl. So we're starting to see these accounts come out more and more, and being, I would say, more normalized. And I feel like the work that I'm doing is trying to, it is in the process of making it more normalized and not so weird, because there is so much there. There's so much richness there. So yeah, I mean, like anything, there's going to be, you know, beings on other planets that have an agenda.
And we can't think that we're possibly the only ones
Right.
that are here.
Don't be so selfish.
Right. Right, totally. And so there's going to be agendas and intentions that are not, you know, of pristine energy or energetics or love or oneness. And then you're going to have other beings who really are, who have a vested agenda in supporting our evolution, because their evolution is also happening and occurring at the same, I guess, time, if you want to call it that, as we are. And we're here
Just
to
like
work
humans
together
here.
to evolve, right?
It's got the good and the bad of humans. It's got the good and the bad of the ETs.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
And I mean, I think that you're going to start to hear a lot more accounts of people talking about it. I mean, my friend David Rostowski, who's also a channel, you know, had revealed some statistics around aliens and people believing in them. And it looks like, you know, for majority of the population across the world, over half of the population
do.
believes in aliens and other extraterrestrial life forms. But the problem is that you have pockets of people who don't have anyone to talk about it with.
Right.
You know, I can't reveal it because then somebody's going to think I'm nuts, or I'm, you know,
Right.
ridiculous, or I'm just a sci-fi person, or whatever. I'm making shit up, you know? So I think that we're in a time now where as we expand consciousness, right? You know, of course we're going to have more discussions and conversations about communication with other planets and with other beings. And, you know, I believe that there's not just myself, there's many channels on the planet right now, some you may have known about or don't, that are doing this work to bring this through and to show that it's not all malevolent. There's a lot of benevolent beings who really are wanting to help and bring love and bring light and also bring up our shit, because the frequencies of galactic work is very different than working with angels or other kinds of, you know, ascended masters. It's a different energy, and it's the most precise energy I've ever encountered.
That's what I was going to ask you about too. We saw a channel, or we were watching one. It's a Word I Am Word.
Oh, Paul Selig.
Yeah, Paul
Yes,
Selig.
Paul
Yeah.
Selig's amazing.
Incredible.
Absolutely love him.
Yeah.
He's an amazing ambassador of this work, and he's grounded and down to earth. And I think that's the point here too, is one of my gifts that I've been given this lifetime is to be grounded. I know how to be human, and that's what we're here to do. And the Palladians have said this too. It's not about getting out of the body and imagining that you're in the Pleiades star clusters floating around.
That's
you know,
the next life.
You know, another
If you're ready
time.
for
What
it.
if you're like,
If
I
you're ready
wish you
for
were
it.
back home up in the Palladian
Yeah.
star clusters?
It's about being
Yeah.
here.
Pull
Yeah.
me back in is what
When
it's
you-
about challenge.
When you get bored as an alien, you send
Come
down
here.
some UFOs, pick up some cool humans, and give them some great downloads. You give the coolest humans
Beam
some
'em up.
downloads, and then they wake up and they're like, wait a minute, I know the answer to world peace.
Yeah.
It's inner peace.
Yeah, it
And then
it is.
they're like, and then some people are like, I got abducted and it was crazy because they weren't ready for it.
This, do you believe maybe that's their own interpretation? Like they got abducted. Can I say that word? Abducted.
Abducted.
Abducted. I can't even say it.
It's a tongue twister.
Abducted. There you go. This
Yeah.
is our Soul Sexy Dance
Yes.
tonight.
We are doing the abducted
Woo,
dance.
abducted dance. It was time to do our
Abducted
dance of the day and the abducted dance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The star of the show wants to do a little dance too. Yeah.
He goes from snoring to dancing. You know?
Yeah, like how we slide that little dance move in.
Yeah, exactly. See? You
Abduction
knew it was
tongue
coming.
twister
You knew
dance.
it was coming. It was just a matter of
We
when and
didn't
how.
forget.
So good.
But yeah, maybe it is literally, and that's a great point to bring up. Is maybe it literally was, you know, they were coming in and they thought they could handle this, the channeling, and they couldn't, so they pushed it away. They resist it, and then, you know, they create, you know, a crazy story versus like being open to
Or
it,
they're in a state of fear and they're
State of
attracting more things that
Right.
Or
give them
that.
fear.
like being
So
opened up by tiny little aliens.
Right.
Actually, that's always been a fear of mine since I was younger. I was always been like, don't come into my room, because I used to watch a lot of sci-fi growing up. My dad was all about it, and I'm like, what if they come in my window at night and they come and get me? And I remember this is going to sound so stupid, but because I've had spirits in my room appear to me since I was a child as well. And then when I started thinking, well, I've got spirits, they're cool, I talk to them. I don't want aliens here. And I remember one day I was watching,
Yeah,
you guys are going to think I'm nuts. This is when I am, it's okay. I was watching Sesame Street, And I remember this to this day. I don't know if you guys remember, like, they had these aliens that were on, and it was like the Count and someone else, and they were like, well, if these aliens come in, we can make them go away. And it's like, and I sat there like, oh, how do you do it? How do you do it? And it was like, well, all you gotta do is say to them, you're not allowed in my space. And then you create, like, they created a barrier around to allow them in. So you know what I did after watching that episode? My mom walked into my room. She's like, what the hell are you doing? I had every single Care Bear lined up all along my bed, all along the edge, up and down. Because I used to have night terrors, as they call it. But it was you know, speaking to spirits. And so I was like, well, they're not allowed in now. I created a barrier. No aliens are going to get me. They're not coming in here. And so when I had no aliens appear, I used to think, well, see, it worked. Thank you, Sesame Street.
Boundaries. Boundaries. Yeah, you have free
But
will.
little did we know that it's literally just a boundary of not, yes, I'm allowing spirits to come in, but you can't come around this area.
And anything we don't know, right? Like,
Yeah. Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
We have ignorance around, right? Like,
Sure.
we're going to create stories and judgments about those things versus actually being more open. That's what I always say to people when they come to these events. Some people are all about it. Some people are like, I have no idea what the hell I'm in for. But it's like, great, just be open and
They were
allow
drawn to
yourself
you for some reason.
to experience it. And the more that you can be open and, you know, in allow yourself to have the experience, then, you know, you don't know what kind of gift you're going to be given in that.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your gifts.
Yes,
Thanks,
we
guys.
really do. We
Thank
so
you.
appreciate
We
it.
love your magnificence, the way you're showing up in the world.
Yes.
Thank you. I love
You're
yours.
Beautiful soul. We love it. We
You
so
guys.
appreciate you coming in. I know everyone out here
Thank you,
listening
guys.
appreciates it as well. So, your website one more time?
VanessaPetronelli.com.
Check it out.
Check it out. Check it out.
Come on over.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. It's been an awesome
We
episode.
love you. Thank you so much.
Like us on Facebook. Check out soulsexypodcast.com to everyone that is watching us on Facebook. And this will be on our downloaded whatever on our site later.
Yep. And we'll see you
Download.
next week
See you
for
next
an
week.
amazing show at Thursday, 3:33.
Absolutely. Our guest will be
Yeah.
from Kaboo. So check it out.
Nice.
Yes.
Peace out, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have
Bye.
a soul sexy week.
So sexy.
Take care.
Yes.
All right.